Hey everybody watching, thanks for coming to the TNT Bootcamp. Today we're going to be talking about Circloscope, and we've done this before, but guess what? There's been an update. The Circloscope tool has been updated and now it's much easier to use, and we've got two wonderful people to help us walk through that process. One is my lovely co-host, Christine DeGraff, but before I get to you, Christine, hold on. We have done a series of shows, and so we want to make sure you're aware of that. We've talked about various tools that you use inside Google Plus to gain following or find those who are influential, and start to see what they're doing and interact with them and find ways to be interactive on this wonderful platform called Google Plus. And that's one of our goals here, is to help you use the tools and various techniques so that you can gain traction here inside Google+. So with that said, don't forget to look over there, or maybe it's over there, I can't remember. In the details, we've got lots of links to our prior episodes. Today, we're focusing on Circloscope. We've got Craig. I'm going to highlight Craig for just a moment, and then we're going to jump over to the co-host, wonderful Christine. Craig Fifield, would you say hello to everyone for a moment?
Hello, everyone, for a moment.
So very nice and literal. So, Craig, you've been involved with Circloscope for a while on more of the programmatic end. Is that correct?
Sort of more of a general manager type end. I kind of...
He's the boss. He's the boss.
Yeah, I'm the no man.
Or at least he's very bossy, if not the boss.
My background is in designing marketing tools, for Microsoft. So I've been using that to, help with the UI and help with the direction of the product.
Okay, and UI means user interface or something like that?
Yep. And the feature set and all that. So Christine does it all too.
Okay, so let's bring on over to Christine. Christine, you are my wonderful co-host for TNT Bootcamp. Why don't you remind everybody what we're here for and then what we're doing today?
Yes, I've lost track of how long we've been doing this now, but we started out going over some of the various tools on Google+, Circle Count, Circloscope, NOD3x, and Steady Demand. And then we went into an influencer part of our series where we met with many influencers and talked about how they're using Google+, and now we're circling back because Circloscope is completely relaunched and completely different, as well as NOD3x, which we'll be covering in our next show. And so we wanted to give these tools their a little more spotlight, since they're now totally different.
Very cool. So one of the things that we were really anxiously waiting for when we first started this broadcast series was Circloscope, and the purpose of Circloscope hasn't changed, but the ability to do it easier, let's say, has. So the UI,
yes.
As Craig has said, the user interface has changed dramatically, and that's why we're doing another show, and I love how Christine is saying we're circling back. So Christine or Craig, either one, whichever, would you help us with a real basic understanding of what Circloscope's for before we start looking into the details?
So Circloscope is the way to find engagers on Google+, so that you don't have to do it by hand. And once you have those engagers circled and you're starting to interact, you can then use the tool further to prune your circles and keep them clean and keep it all relevant and organized.
And these are things we could do manually, but the tool helps us do it much more efficiently. Is that right?
Right. It's basically a huge time-saving tool.
Okay. And Christine, what is it you're going to show us to get this thing going? Do you have some screen share things you're going to do, or are you going to do this live?
I'm going to do it live. My circles are a mess, but we're going to look at them anyway.
Okay.
And I'm going to show you how to grab some engagers to add to your circles. I'll show you some of the features and how to clean your circles up, and some of the, we'll just go through it. People can feel free to ask questions if they have any, and we'll either cover them during the show or we'll go back through the comments.
Yeah, so just so everybody knows, with the comments, if you are, let's see, I'm going to find one to put up on screen here. Here's one. Michelle's saying, hey, y'all, I can actually attend one of these live, so apparently this is not normal. So if we have a comment that we can bring up on screen that's related to what we were just talking about or asking about, please feel free to add some comments so that we can bring them in according to the specifics that we're going before with the training. So it is interactive if we can. We're going to bring in your comments. Remember, it's only a 30-minute show, so let's get going now. Here comes Christine. I've got you pinned on the main screen.
All right. So I'm actually looking at a post that Craig just sent me. If you wanted to find engagers, he did a post about Photoshop tips. So say, for example, if you're a designer and you're looking for people who are interested in Photoshop tips, this post had, 9 shares, a bunch of pluses, a bunch of comments. So all you need to do is grab the URL by clicking it, right-click and say copy, and that gives you the URL to this post. And then you can open up Circloscope, which I already have it open. This is the dashboard. And there is an Engagers tab. And we're going to say Engagers of specific posts. You can either pick that, or if you want only new people that are not in your circles, you can pick the one not in your circles. You paste the URL in. Now the deep and extended search, this is kind of like ripples. It's going to show you, it's going to pull in everyone, including the shares of the post. And you just say OK. And this is going to pull up all of the people, 83 results, that plused, commented, or shared that post. Now at this point, you could select all and add them to your circles, or you could filter it, and I'm going to recommend filtering it.
Hey, Christine, before you get too far into that, let me bring up a comment and just stay right where you are.
Okay.
This is a comment from Jeff C. He's saying he knows a lot of Hangout and Air hosts use Circloscope. Is there some general best practices or starter tips you could give to people running a Hangout on Air? So while you're doing what you're doing, maybe you could sort of work that into the presentation. Thanks.
So I'm going to go to filters, and one of the things, as you know, or you may or may not know, you can only follow a total of 5,000 people in your circles. So you're going to want to try to follow the people who are really, interested or engaged on the topics you're interested in. So I generally am not too concerned about people who just plus, because, people plus just about anything. So I'm always looking for the commenters or the resharers. Also, there is a daily limit, which varies for everyone, of how many people you can add to your circles. So you might not be able to add 83 people. You might need to filter it down. So by clicking on the reshared button, one click is a check, which means yes. If I had clicked it twice, it puts an X. It means no, they did not reshare. So I'm going to pick once for reshared. If you notice down here on my screen, I have someone that does not have a profile picture. You can filter out what we call the blue heads by clicking twice, so that you do not pick anyone who is a blue head.
I'm going to really stress that, because at least when I first saw this interface, that was not clear to me. So when we have all these filter options, one check or one click means yes, that's the thing I want.
Yes, or on, or
yes, or on, or include. Where the 2 clicks might be no, or exclude, or don't include them, something like that. Does that make sense?
A lot of people do not want to follow pages, so that you might click exclude for the pages, and then we're going to go ahead and apply. And that's going to then go back through, and now I've got 10 results. These are the people who shared the post, who aren't blue heads, they're not pages. And at this point, if, like I said, this was a post about people who are interested in Photoshop, so you could select all, and then under the action, you could add all 10 to your circles. You could pick an existing circle, or you could create a new circle. Maybe this is Photoshop tutorials. And click OK. And it's going to just add those 10 people right to your circles.
Fantastic.
Takes just a moment. There we go. Now they're added. So that's finding engagers from posts. Another way to find engagers, we go back here to engagers. is you could do from your page, like everyone who has engaged on your last, 5, 10, 20 posts. I'm going to find new engagers, people who aren't already in my circles, and then I'm going to pick, say, my last 10 posts. I'll say OK. So what I'm looking for is people who have either plussed, shared, or commented on my posts, my last 10 posts that I don't already have in my circles. We've got 204 results.
So engagement in this point means plus, share, or comment? It's
yes.
Any one of those. Okay.
Yep. So again, I'm trying to find sharers. I feel like I need more sharers in my circles. No more blue heads. Not looking for pages. I'm going to apply this. And it can take just a minute. And it looks like it came to 22 results. So these are new sharers. I'm going to go ahead and select all. I'm going to add them to my circles. I have a circle called Recent New Engagers.
How convenient.
Yep.
That's probably a good one to make.
Yes. And
it's a good one to run regular.
Yeah, you could check it, say, because it's done by the number, you can pick up to 40 posts. So you might want to check, every 40 posts every week or however often. Let me snooze my notifications here. I'm making noise.
Okay, while you're doing that, what you've done is you've used the tool to, in essence, either build a circle or add people to an existing circle that you already had based on certain criteria that they shared, that they were not a page, they didn't have a blue head, meaning they did have a profile picture instead of just a blue head, and they were not pages. That's sort of how you set that up.
Yes, and I mean, you could pick your own filters. That's just kind of my general filters. Another thing that you can do is after you've set a filter, like say for example, let me run this one again. Now I've circled a bunch of those people, so I'll go back further so we get some results.
I think you're about to answer the question I was going to ask. Is it something to do with saving?
Yes,
search?
That's what I'm getting ready to do. I should have showed that part. So now you've got this filter. I'm going to go ahead and I'm looking for the engagers of my last. I picked 40 posts this time, not in my circles. And so say if you have, like I do, a kind of a standard thing that you're looking for, I'm going to apply. Give it just a minute to run. It's going back 40 posts, so.
So once we've applied the filter, that's the point when you need to do the saving. You can't do it later. Is that right?
Well, no. I could select these people and go ahead and add them to my circles. So these are more new engagers.
Okay.
And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to save this query. And let me, as soon as it adds it.
So it's kind of like, since we're talking about Photoshop, it's like an action, meaning you've got 5, 10, 15 steps that you're doing, and once you've recorded all those, you then can hit a button that lets you save it?
Yep.
Sorry, I changed the screen for a second. You found that at the very top, said save, what did it say? Save query?
Let me, right here, save as new.
Save as new, thanks.
And
it says recent new engagers.
And you can name it anything you want.
Okay.
And this is a tooltip description to if you need to remind yourself, maybe you want to tell yourself how often to run it, or what filters you picked, but you just save that.
I would need to remind myself. I would go crazy. I'd forget it.
Now it's here under saved queries now. So next time I want to run that, I don't have to set all those filters again. I can just check my recent new engagers, pick the number of posts I'm looking at, but this is going to have all those filters that I picked, no pages, no blue heads, only resharers. It's going to have all of those filters already set in place, so that, and I believe I already circled it, everybody, so it's not going to show any results, but next week it would.
Okay, so it goes basically all the way through the filtering and the process of pulling those people, but it doesn't actually then put them into that circle, does it? Or does it bring them all the way to the point of pulling them in the circle?
No, it does not put them in the circle. You would then do that part. But it just so that you don't have to, reset all those filters, those criteria.
Got it.
We were talking about how another way that the way HOA hosts are using it to find engagers, and let me show you this real quick.
Well, saving the query would work well for the HOA host as well.
Yes.
That's probably something that they're overlooking right now.
So I'm going to open up this event that we're in right now, the TNT Bootcamp, and copy the URL from the top. I'm going to go to Circloscope, go to Dashboard, and under Events, I've been creating a circle for every one of our shows, Ronnie, so that I can then invite people to another show. So I'm going to find everyone who said that they're going to an event, and I'll paste in the URL of this event.
This, by the way, is awesome. It is. It's rather amazing. Wonderful.
So now I've got 145 people that said yes, they are coming to this event, and I'm going to select all. And now normally I usually do this a couple days after the event because more people will watch it in the next couple days. But I'm going to go ahead and add these to a new circle. And I've been naming these, let's see, so TNT Bootcamp Circloscope.
Okay. So in a moment, I've got a couple more questions that are coming in hot and heavy now. So I'll let you finish this part up, and then let me ask a few questions, Christine.
Okay. So yeah, these people are all added to this event, and these are the ones that I will invite in 2 weeks when we do, or actually probably in 3 weeks, we're going to do Circloscope and NOD3x together. So these people have already indicated they're interested in Circloscope. I'm going to invite them to that event as well.
I mean, interested in TNT Bootcamp.
Yes, but specifically interested in the Circloscope, because they came today.
This particular event. Got it. Got it. Okay. So let me bring up a comment question here. This is from Carmen saying she was gone for 10 days. I guess I would have been erased during that time. However, upon my return and re-engaging, I would be added back. In other words, the question is related to some of these filters, meaning if they haven't engaged in a certain period of time. So isn't that based on
personal preference? Personal preference.
When you set it up and you're doing your searches, you can adjust as to what that date.
Right.
Right.
Yep. But then she's right. If she was to be removed but continues to engage on different events or posts, she could get added back.
Get added back in. Okay. And then another one. This is from, I think it's from Laney, Circloscope Mastery. Christine DeGraff, isn't it a good idea to not focus on circling tons of people, but really be focused and targeted with your circling?
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. And I've been circling quite a few people just testing, but yes, being focused is important. I do manage some pages. My fiance has a page called the Tattoo Connection, and he's very focused on circling other, tattoo artists and on engagers who engage on tattoo posts specifically because he's trying to get, that target audience. Yeah. So yes, being focused is important.
So this sort of ties into what Mel's question is. What is the main benefit of Circloscope to everyday users?
I think it depends on your reason for being here, but Circloscope is a time saver, like Craig said. So if you're in the habit of circling people who engage on your posts or other people's posts, rather than do it one by one, you can do it in bulk. So it definitely is a time saver. But also, if you're here and you're approaching the 5,000 limit and want to try to figure out who to uncircle, This is going to really help you because you can uncircle based on, are they not following you back? Did they not set a profile photo? Are they not engaging on your posts? Are they inactive? What if they might have created an account and been active a year ago, but now they haven't posted in 3 months? So you can clean your circles up.
Yeah, a couple more questions. One's a comment saying pages are people too. So that there's people behind the pages. But this is a question from Michelle saying, if you have the person in a circle already, in other words, does it add them again? And go ahead and address that if you wouldn't mind.
Yes, if you already have them in one circle, but then you're creating a new circle, it would add them to the new circle. People can be in multiple circles, but it doesn't send them a notice that they're being added to another circle.
But let me ask, it's slightly different. If I already have Christine in my awesomeness circle, okay, and I'm doing a special search and it's filtered just right, and now I've got a new set of people that are awesome, and I'm going to add all of them to my awesomeness circle, but Christine's already in there, but she's ready to be added again. Would it duplicate you, or would it just leave you in there once, in that one circle?
Just be in there once.
Okay.
Right.
It was a little rhetorical, but I want to ask for everybody that might have that same version.
Right, and you also have control of this in multiple ways. So you can set filters or use our menu items to not include people that are already in your circles. And you could also potentially even put people on a blacklist that you don't want to add to your circles ever.
Right, and so there's a whitelist and a blacklist thing, and I'm pretty sure the whitelist, if I remember right, you can guide me, but the whitelist says this person, if they're in a whitelist, that means they will not be deleted by any actions you do within Circloscope, but you might actually manually delete them outside. So if you are staying within Circloscope, the whitelist applies. But blacklist, for example, someone that comes, and this is a good question for Jeff, if someone comes to your event and then you decide they don't want to be invited ever again because they don't want that, you can add them to a blacklist, and that way you won't accidentally add them into another circle that might be sending out an invite. Is that about right?
Yes.
Yep.
And so don't think of someone on another HOA kind of got upset about the term blacklist. Don't think of blacklist as necessarily like blocking or muting. You can use it in any way that you want, but if you decide you don't want to say, for example, if you, like you just said, if you have people who have said, I don't want to be invited to your event, you could add them to your blacklist. They're still in your circles, and then when you create your event circle, you could filter it against your blacklist and remove anyone who said they don't want to be invited before you, go ahead and send out your invites.
Right.
Yeah,
so there's lots of ways you could use that.
Now I'm going to bring up a challenging question just to show that we will try to answer. We don't know the answer for sure. At least I don't. The question is, if you create a circle of people who attended your last Hangout on Air event, as an example, and invite them to your next event, if some of those people are already in another circle that you invited to the Hangout on Air event, would they be getting duplicate event invitations if you brought in multiple circles, in essence, where they were in existence twice? What do you guys think on that?
I don't think so, because I have not received multiple invitations to the same event, but I'm not certain.
Yeah, within I run a membership called Hangout Mastery, and I've been bringing this topic up and saying that at some point within the Mastery group we're going to do a test, because if, for example, I'm invited to an event and I don't respond, and then someone else invites me, I wonder if I now get an invite versus if I did respond. Or if I said no, do I get no more invites if other people invite me? So there's all these permutations that might need to be tested, and something.
We could also just ask our audience right now if anyone received more than one invite to this event, because I know you sent out invites, I sent out invites, Circloscope sent out invites. So, did they receive more than one?
Yeah,
If you did, speak up.
Yeah, let us know in the comments if you received more than one invitation to this specific event that you're watching right now. That'd be good. And then BL's got a question. This one has to do with her stating that she started to take people out of multiple circles to avoid duplicating notifications. Again, I think it might be tied to this. There's different kinds of notifications, but some of us are talking right now about event notifications. So I don't know which one BL's speaking of, but probably event.
And as far as, is it helpful or good to have people in multiple circles? I mean, Google Plus is designed to have people in multiple circles. You know, they've even put out videos showing you, you know, someone could be in your fishing circle, but they're also in your book club circle. You know, they're also in your coworker circle. I mean, there can be overlap in people in your circles.
Yeah. So I think it's okay. I think it's okay, user or system-wise, to have people in multiple circles. The question that BL's asking, and others are as well, is, does this potentially send out multiple notifications if that's the case? And so far, we're getting responses. People are saying, well, actually, we're getting a mix. So here we go. Mel saying, I only received one invite. Sheila, only one invite. Denise, only one invite. BL is saying she did get more than one invite, but BL, I think, has multiple accounts, and that might be part of it. Carmen,
or did she get an invite and a reminder? That's another thing.
She says, I do get multiple invites to the same event.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's really gonna, yeah, we need to test. I'm gonna need to test it within the mastery group. We'll try to report outside of that group once we figure out all the details. So, but that's not a Circloscope thing specifically. That's an event tool and invitations and the combination. So we've got about 4 minutes to wrap this up on time. You guys want to do any final statements about how wonderful the tool is, or what to do, how to get it? You know, isn't there? Oh, there's 2 different levels, isn't there?
There's 3.
3.
There's 3 actually. Well, I definitely, you know, yes, Craig and I, you know, obviously are a little biased, but however. There is a free version, so you know you have nothing to lose. There's a free version. It's available at circloscope.com/free. It's for profiles only, not pages, and it will do everything that the regular version does, with the exception of circling and adding or removing in bulk. So when you got to that point of add to circles, you would have to do it one at a time. So that's at circloscope.com/free. Now, we also have a paid version for its premium. It's $47 a year, and that's for 1 profile and 3 pages. And you can get that at circloscope.com, and you're going to put in your Google Plus profile ID when you sign up, and it'll, you know, you'll be taken through the installation process. If you need more pages, the Pro version is $178 a year, and that's for 1 profile and up to 15 pages. And that's also available at circloscope.com. Another reason that I don't believe you can lose is we do have a no questions asked 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you're not happy within 30 days, send us a help desk ticket, and we will give you a full refund, no questions asked. So. Be sure to go to circloscope.com/YouTube, and we'll put all these links in. We have lots of tutorials there, and we're adding more all the time. And there are other, you know, super users who are putting out tutorials as well, such as Lainey. What's Lainey's last name? I'm drawing a blank.
Sullivan.
Lainey Sullivan. She also runs the Circloscope Mastery page. Wade Harmon. Eileen Smith has been doing tutorials. There's quite a few people who are putting out some really good tutorials that are very helpful.
Okay, so in 2 weeks, we're going to have another show for TNT Bootcamp, and we're going to focus on
NODX.
NODX, just NODX for the next one, and then after that, we're going to do NODX and Circloscope together. Is that the plan?
Yep, okay. So we have Lee coming on, Lee Smallwood from NODX. They have completely redesigned NODX as well. So much easier to use, you know, very useful, free for Google Plus users. So I definitely, you know, they have a paid version now as well, but I definitely think it's worth a walkthrough, and everyone should take a second look.
Okay, fantastic. So everyone, thank you for coming to these shows. We do appreciate it. We're going to have another one in 2 weeks. So basically, it's the first and third Monday of every month. So it's August 4th. I hope I got the right date. For our very next show, which will be covering NodeX, and sometimes people call it NOD3x, but we pronounce it NodeX because we're nerdy enough to do that, I guess. So thank you, Craig, for being part of the show today.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
And Christine, wonderful job. Thanks for not only being a wonderful co-host, but also being the expert showing us Circloscope.
Thank you very much.
And thank you, everyone out there, for watching. We will address some of your questions that we were not able to get to live in the comments, so feel free to keep that going, and we will come and address them as soon as we can. Bye now.